Namaskar, everyone. Thank you very much for your presence here. We all have gathered today at the Chinmay Auditorium, New Delhi, in loving memory of Professor Dr. J.L. Gupta. And not only within the walls of this auditorium, we have the well-wishers joining us through the medium of social media as well. We are live with this prayer meet on YouTube. And if anyone would like to access the link, you can just type prayer meet of Professor Dr. J.L. Gupta, Padamshri, and one can access the YouTube link. So we are all here to celebrate the life of Professor Dr. J.L. Gupta and what a journey it has been. I think this is a story that needs to be told. I'm sure that as we hear the story today over the course of next 1 hour, there'll be a lot of life values that we learn and we can imbibe in our own lives. This has been a wonderful journey. Imagine somebody from a very modest background, coming from a humble village in Himachal Pradesh, pursuing his dream of medicine, becoming a doctor, specializing in burns, and pioneering when it came to burns treatment. It was as early as 63, 64 that Dr. Gupta founded, established the first of its kind Department of Burns in Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi. And if you look at this list, so whether it was the silver sulfadiazine cream, the cream that helped many who had burns, whether it was about founding the vaccine against Pseudomonas infection, the infection that used to happen when somebody had burns, he contributed to all of this. And that's why Professor Dr. J.L. Gupta is rightly described as father of burns treatment. For his contribution to the field of medicine, the government of India conferred upon him the fourth highest civilian honor of the country, Padamshri, in 1974. In 1978, he was conferred the prestigious Dr. B.C. Roy National Honor. But it was not just his contribution came when he was a doctor, he was in service. The service to humanity continued post his retirement too. He founded NABI, the National Academy of Burns, India. And later, a very significant step, National Program for Prevention of Burn Injuries. Because Dr. Professor J.L. Gupta firmly believed that when it came to burns, it was not just about the cure and the treatment. The emphasis had to be on prevention. So all of us, whether we are sitting in an auditorium like this, and you see fire extinguishers around, whether we are in the kitchen, house, office, wherever we are, Dr. J.L. Gupta believed if only we were more aware, we can prevent 100% of burns. In fact, under his guidance, his daughter-in-law, Dr. Kalpana, has authored a book that's titled Prevention of Burns. I've read that, a very user-friendly book that guides every household, every school, how we can contribute to prevent the burns. So his contribution to the society has been immense. We remember him very fondly today. And I think his legacy continues with his family and friends. So first and foremost, I'd like to invite on stage his son, Dr. Pavnendra Lal, himself a respected laparoscopic surgeon, to please come up and share the beautiful journey of his father, Professor Dr. J.L. Gupta. Thank you.
On behalf of the family, I thank you all for being here at this function today. And I would like to start this with a small prayer.
सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दना नित्योर्मुक्षीयमामृता ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दना त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दना नित्योर्मुक्षीयमामृता ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दना त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दना नित्योर्मुक्षीयमामृता त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दना मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृता ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दना नित्योर्मुक्षीयमामृता त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दना नित्योर्मुक्षीयमामृता
This is the second loss within 9 months. On 16th April last year, I lost my mother, Professor Gupta, and there ended the journey of nearly just short of 60 years for my parents. Married journey for 60 years, and my father was alone. And I'm very happy, blessed, that my mother left this world very peacefully, hopefully very happy of having attained and fulfilled all her responsibilities, and with all of us around her. And if that was not enough, the divine blessings were there to repeat the same with my parent, my father, on 23rd morning when he left this world very peacefully with all of us around him. My father was possibly named by my parents because he was born in a small village called Shanan in Joginder Nagar, which is a small town in the district of Mandi, but previously it was in the state of Punjab. And he was eldest of 7 siblings, 7 bhai बहन थे ये, 2 brother, 5 बहनें, of the parents Hiralal, Gupta and Phula Devi. This is one of the pictures I could take out from our Just before Joginder Nagar, when you drive from Pathankot to Mandi, it's a small village of Shannon, where there is the powerhouse. So basically the British wanted to make a dam, wanted to bring the water from Barot, from the river Ul. And in this project, my grandfather was employed. And this you see is the slope on the which there is a track on which people are sitting. This is known as a truck. And this truck was being driven by my grandfather. He was the winch driver. When you see from Shannon, you see the mountain like this. नीचे से around 3,000-4,000 feet से ये ऊपर 11,500 की feet पे. I don't know whether you can see on the left hand side, there is this thing which I have blown up here. This is the place where they spent the childhood, because as a winch driver he was given the accommodation. उनकी जो वो winch house था वो वहाँ पर उनका घर था छोटा सा, जो winch driver को मिलता है. तो पैदाइश नीचे हुई शानन विलेज में, और फिर बाकी का जो चाइल्डहुड है शुरू का वो विंच में जोगिंदर नगर में. सो माय फादर वाज वेरी मच इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय माय ग्रैंडमदर श्रीमती फूला देवी, एंड ही यूज्ड टू फ्रीक्वेंटली रिकाउंट दिस दैट शी वुड गेट अप एट 4 AM in the morning and milk the cows, and then with snow all around, hands would get frozen. तो मेरी माँ फिर हाथ गर्म करने के लिए गाय में हाथ रखती थी, वार्म अप होके फिर थोड़े से जान आएगी, फिर अगेन शी वुड स्टार्ट मिल्किंग. दिस इज हाउ द फैमिली सर्वाइव्ड दैट टाइम. एंड ऑल्सो a lot of valuables had to be sold so that the education of these 7 children, all 7 of them were taught very well, क्योंकि उन्होंने अपनी कमी थी तो वो बच्चों में कमी नहीं होने दी, तो सातों के साथ बहुत ही शानदार करियर्स में पहुँचे. And his school education was influenced by his Tayaji, headmaster Shri Bishan Das at Kullu, and he did not have any issues. तो उन्होंने कहा मेरे पास बच्चे को भेज दो, तो वो कुल्लू में आ गए, मोहल विलेज में, और फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड क्लास उन्होंने प्राइमरी स्कूल कटराई में करी, विच इज़ ऑन द वे टू मनाली. बिटवीन कुल्लू एंड मनाली आप जाते हैं तो कटराई करके एक जगह आती है, और फिर वो वहाँ इसलिए गए क्योंकि वहाँ पर हेडमास्टर जी थे. उसके बाद वो भूंतर आ गए तो उन्होंने बच्चे को अपने साथ 3rd, 4th एंड 5th भूंतर में किया. 6th to 10th हाई स्कूल कुल्लू में किया, जो अभी भी कुल्लू में है. और 4-5 किलोमीटर का डिस्टेंस मोहल से कुल्लू को पैदल जाना, बच्चों ने पैदल शाम को वापस आना, ये काफ़ी सारे हमारे सीनियर्स ने करा हुआ है. मैं सिर्फ रिकाउंट सबके लिए इसलिए कर रहा हूँ कि किसी को भी आसानी से सक्सेस नहीं मिली है. आज जब किसी को आप देखते हो टॉप पे, तो वो रास्ता कैसे गया है उसको देखना ज़रूरी है. और एक वो बताते थे कि लैंडमार्क्स के आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए वो बच्चे 3 जाते थे. गोयल साहब जिनकी फैमिली है, हमारे बुआ जी के हस्बैंड, और वो और 1-2 लोग तो पत्थर रखते थे निशानी. तो जो क्रॉस कर गया वो एक पत्थर उठा लेगा, तो वो पत्थर देख के उनकी निशानी होती थी कि वो निकल गया या वो रह गया. सच वर द टाइम्स. टेलीफोन की तो बात ही छोड़ दीजिए, कुछ भी नहीं था. 10th का एग्ज़ाम उन्होंने धर्मशाला से करा. उस वक़्त वो बताते थे कि इट वाज अ वेरी बिग थिंग. 10th का एग्ज़ाम बोर्ड के लिए छोटी सी बस में विदाई होती थी, जैसे हम वी सेंड आवर, जैसे विदाई मैरिज में होती है वैसे विदाई करते थे, हार डलते थे बच्चों को. 10-12 बच्चों का लॉट 10वीं के लिए जा रहा है. टीचर भेज रहा है कि मैंने तैयार करके भेजे हैं बच्चे, अब लेट अस सी व्हाट हैपन्स. टफ एग्ज़ाम. और पंजाब बोर्ड का एग्ज़ाम था, धर्मशाला में होता था. तो दिस इज़ व्हाट ही यूज्ड टू रिकाउंट. और टीचर्स बड़े स्टॉलवर्ड टीचर्स थे, सख्त थे, मारते थे, पतली बैंड से मारते थे. काफ़ी सारे जो हमारे रिश्तेदार यहाँ कुल्लू से आए हुए हैं वो सब जानते हैं. काफ़ी टीचर्स की लेगेसी अभी भी वहाँ बड़ी चलती है. बड़े विटी थे, टफ थे. और एक पहेली मैंने यहाँ पर अपने कांगड़ा, क्योंकि ही इज़ अ सूद, वी आर ऑल सूद फैमिली, तो कांगड़ी ज़बान में एक वो लिखा हुआ है, जैसा वो हमको बताते थे। आई मे बी रॉन्ग बट मे बी बैठे हैं यहाँ पर, तो मैथमेटिक्स का पजल है ये। हाँ, एक मन यू नो ना, 40 kg, तो मन होता था, फिर रत्ती होता था, कन्वर्जन्स का फॉर्मूला है ये। तो ये जो लास्ट लाइन है, ये हमारे को सबको पूछते रहते थे कि ऐसे ऐसे पजल्स हमको देते थे और ऐसे आंसर देना पड़ता था। हुएवर गिव्स द फर्स्ट आंसर ही इज गोइंग टू विन द प्राइज। एक मन सुरमा 100 जनिया, एक मन सुर में 100 लड़कियों में, जनिया मीन्स लेडीज, तो 100 रत्ती सुरमा कितनी जनिया, यू नो, सो इट्स अ कन्वर्जन। अभी आप ये वाला क्वेश्चन हमारे स्कूल के बच्चों को दे दो, दे आर गॉन। 1 घंटे के लिए वो करते रहे कैलकुलेशन, उनको सिर पैर नहीं पता लगेगा कि क्या कर दिया। ये ऐसे सेकंड्स में आंसर देना पड़ता था, क्योंकि ऐसी ही पहेली अगली आने वाली है। जैसे ये आंसर देगा तो वो बैच 10 का 5 में रह जाएगा, 5 में 2 में रह जाएगा, एंड देन ही यूज्ड टू से कि फिर उसको वजीफा मिलता था, स्कॉलरशिप मिलती थी, जो इसको ऐसे क्रॉस करके आगे जाएगा। और एक अभी रिसेंट लास्ट ईयर में आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ माय मदर, हमने कहा कि हम उनको कुल्लू ले जाते हैं, अपने घर का सैर करा के आते हैं, सो दैट ही फील्स, ही यूज्ड टू ऑलवेज फील वेरी मच कनेक्टेड। जॉब की वजह से यहाँ फंसे हुए थे, डिपार्टमेंट यहाँ बनाया था, इसीलिए घर बना, सब कुछ बना, नहीं तो उनका दिल सब कुछ अपने घर कुल्लू कांगड़ा में बसा हुआ था। वहाँ चले जाओ तो ही इज सो हैप्पी, ही वुड नेवर लाइक टू कम बैक। तो ये एक उनका
4 खड़ियां,
हाँ
4 पेटियां,
हाँ
4 सुरमा दानियां,
हाँ
घास तोता बोला कल पहुंचानियां।
हाँ,
क्या है बोलो?
क्या है बोलो? दिस ही आस्क्ड मी लास्ट ईयर। 4 खड़ियां, 4 वर्टिकल्स, 4 फेटियां, 4 ट्रांसवर्स, 4 सुरमा दानियां, ठीक है जी। घास तोता, तोता लगा होता है ऊपर, घास तोता बोलदा कल फौजा आनिया। Too many people are going to come tomorrow. Let's see what he says. अब मेरे को क्या पता?
फुलड़ी है, फुलड़ी है, फुलड़ी।
फुल नहीं बोलते हैं?
फुलड़ी का मतलब मैंने आपको दी है, अब आपने जवाब देना है।
हाँ, तो कंघी करो आप अपनी।
मैंने आप देखो, 4 खड़ियां,
हाँ
4 फेटियां,
हाँ।
4 सुरमा दानियां, घास तोता बोलदा कल पहुंचानियां। अब तो मैंने आपको हाथ से करके दिखा।
अब बोलते हैं, अब तो हिंट भी दे दिया। क्या है बताइए? बेदी, शादी की बेदी है। सो दैट इज हाउ। मिर्जा गालिब के बहुत शौकीन थे। मिर्जा गालिब बहुत उन्होंने पढ़ा हुआ था। एक ही पोएट पढ़ा, ये हमने भी उनसे सीखा। मैं अभी अमित जी से भी बता रहा था, जो हमारे अमित अरोड़ा इस भी एंकर, जिन्होंने सुबह इस प्रोग्राम का शुरुआत करी, कि वो बहुत थॉरो थे। ही वॉज वेरी थॉरो विद वॉट एवर ही यूज टू डू। तो उन्होंने एक ही पोएट पकड़ा, मिर्जा गालिब। पढ़ते थे बहुत सारे, लेकिन मिर्जा गालिब और दीवान गालिब उन्होंने पूरी पढ़ी हुई थी, और वो हर सिचुएशन पे जो उसका कपलेट था वो अप्लाई करके बोल सकते थे। इसने मिर्जा गालिब ने हर एक लाइफ के, मैरिज पे, सेपरेशन पे, काम पे, तनाव पे, हार्ड वर्किंग पे, गरीबी पे, अमीरी पे, वीटी पे, किंग के ऊपर, गरीब आदमी के ऊपर, हर सिचुएशन पे कुछ ना कुछ लिखा हुआ है। लेकिन उस किताब के कपलेट को करेक्टली, अप्रोप्रिएटली निकाल के लाना उसी वक्त, दिस ओनली दैट पर्सन कैन डू, जिसने उसको पूरा इम्बाइब समझा हुआ है, इम्बाइब करा हुआ है, लाइफ में अंदर एब्जॉर्ब करा हुआ है। सो बहुत चीज़ें सुनाते थे, और उनमें से एक ये लाइन है कि चिपक रहा है बदन पर लहू से पैराहन, हमारी जेब को अब हाजचे रफू क्या है। तो बेसिकली व्हाट ही एक्सप्लेन टू मी, इसके बहुत सारे पीएचडीज हुई हैं गालिब के ऊपर, तो पीएचडी हुई हैं, हर एक लाइन को अलग अलग तरीके से इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हैं। लेकिन वो हमें बताते थे कि कितनी एक्सट्रीम हो सकती है और कितना डिलेड हो सकता है, कि अब हम इतने हार्ड हो गए हैं, अब हमें रफू की ज़रूरत नहीं है, मैंने तो अपने घाव को अपने खून से ही बंद कर दिया है. So that is the pain of struggle that he went through in his life. And he used to remind us कि आज जो तुम कंफर्ट देख रहे हो, आज जो तुम हमारी स्टेटस देख रहे हो, ये हमारा शुरू से नहीं था. और ये चीज़ें उनको गालिब के शेर में या किसी जगह पे हिट करती थी तो वो हमें रिमाइंड करते थे. और ऐसे भी और भी कुछ एक आधे होंगे तो मैं रिपीट करके बताऊंगा. 11th and 12th उन्होंने लाहौर से करी. लाहौर इसलिए गए क्योंकि उनके चाचा जी डॉक्टर देवीचंद, जिनसे वो बहुत ज़्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस थे, वो वहाँ के सबसे बड़े डॉक्टर थे लाहौर में. गंगाराम हॉस्पिटल एंड किंग एडवर्ड्स मेडिकल कॉलेज, आई थिंक किंग एडवर्ड्स. Yes. Yes. Then joined. So basically वहाँ पर उन्होंने FSC करी, 11th 12th जिसको आप कहते हैं, और उसी परिवार में रहे. और डॉक्टर देवीचंद से प्रेरित होके उन्होंने ये सोचा कि अब मैंने अपना करियर डॉक्टरी में बनाना है. और पार्टीशन में उनको राइट्स में भी फंसे, सारी फैमिली को सेफली लाया गया, बट ही वाज इंजर्ड आल्सो इन वन ऑफ द इंसिडेंट्स. ही वाज स्टैब्ड इन द थाई. एंड आप देखिए ये एक यंग फोटो हमने निकाली है फादर की. ही वाज क्वाइट अ हैंडसम मैन एट दैट टाइम एज वेल. So this is the matriculation certificate which I could get. That's also a unique one. 4th July 1928, it says, records it, session 45, University of Punjab. और फिर जब वापस आए तो वो जलंधर रिफ्यूजी कैंप में आए, और वहाँ पर बहुत सारे इन्फ्लुएंस हुए कि भाई वापस आ गया है लड़का, पार्टीशन हो गई है, चलो क्लर्क बना देते हैं. बट ही वॉज डिटर्मिन्ड कि क्लर्क नहीं बनना, मैंने तो डॉक्टरी का ख्वाब देखा है. ही वॉज इंस्पायर्ड ऑलरेडी बीइंग एट लाहौर. तो वहाँ पर वो उन्होंने मिस्टर प्रार्थी से के संपर्क में आए, और फिर उनके साथ ही वेंट टू सोलन टू कलेक्ट हिज FSC सर्टिफिकेट्स. और फिर उन्होंने उनको डॉक्टर गोपीचंद भार्गव, हु वाज द फर्स्ट CM ऑफ पंजाब, को मिलाया थ्रू पंडित भगत राम शर्मा, MLA फ्रॉम कांगड़ा वेस्ट. एंड देन दे मेट द CM. And then because he was a relocation candidate from the medical college in Lahore, he was given a relocation seat and asked to be accommodated in Bengal in RG Kar Medical College. तो वो चिट्ठी लेके फिर वो डॉक्टर BC रॉय के पास गए जो कि चीफ मिनिस्टर थे, और उन्होंने फिर उनको RG कार में एडमिट किया. RG कार में वहाँ पर वो शुरू में अपने अंकल के साथ रहे, अपने ताया जी के साथ, और वहाँ पर भी ही मेड अ मार्क विद हिज हार्ड वर्क, बिकॉज ही वॉज अ वेरी डिटर्मिन्ड लैड. अब आप सोचिए कि एक पंजाब का लड़का, हिमाचल का लड़का, बंगाली सभ्यता में कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट शॉक, कल्चरल शॉक, बंगाली स्पीकिंग पीपल, बंगाली टीचर्स, बंगाली स्टूडेंट्स, एनवायरनमेंट अलग. हमारे यहाँ पर अभी बच्चों को हम भेजते हैं किसी कॉलेज में तो बोलता है जी खाना कैसे खाएगा, वहाँ खाना नहीं खा पाएगा अभी प्रेजेंट एज में, और पेशेंट से बात कैसे करेगा, हिस्ट्री कैसे लेगा, डायग्नोसिस कैसे करेगा. आप देखिए यहाँ पर एग्जाम्पल है आपके पास बच्चे का, जिसने नॉर्थ के बच्चे ने बंगाल में जाके, और ही मेड हिज मार्क देयर. एंड दिस इज वन ऑफ द सर्टिफिकेट्स विच आई गॉट फ्रॉम हिज फाइल, विच इज साइंड आउट बाय हिज प्रिंसिपल RG कार. And he secured, you can see, senior prosector first in anatomy, class assistant in anatomy, DP Banerjee Medal for proficiency in dissection, Dr. Bose for best student in anatomy, honors in anatomy, first in physiology, Sudhir Datta Medal in clinical surgery, stood first in surgery in the final MBBS, and Lieutenant Colonel SP Sabidkari Gold Medal in surgery. He made his whole mark there as a complete alien and imbibed the language. Bengali इतना fluently बोलते थे कि किसी भी को ये रियलाइज़ नहीं होगा कि वो एक नॉन बंगाली पर्सन है। और ये उनकी MBBS की डिग्री, एंड यू कैन सी द स्मार्ट मैन देयर ऑन द लेफ्ट हैंड साइड सीटेड ऑन द फ्रंट विद स्पेक्टिकल्स, ये वाले of his graduation. And when he was coming back, this was the news item published in the Tribune in 1947, in 1953, sorry, when he passed out. And with his photograph, and this I've highlighted it. So look at, see, the Tribune is a North Indian, Punjab ka paper hai na, to kaise likh raha hai wo. Dr. Joginder Lal Sood, a Punjabi student of RG Kar Medical College, Calcutta, who has taken the first place in the institution in the final MBBS this year, is a distinguished graduate of the Calcutta University and holder of various medals and certificates. Tribune ने छापा ऐसी न्यूज़ को क्योंकि they wanted to say कि our boy has done it in Calcutta. For those youngsters, if they are there any from our institution, अगर मेरे यूनिट के डॉक्टर्स हैं, कोई यंगर डॉक्टर्स हैं, तो आजकल आप कंप्यूटर पे अपने थीसिस लिख देते हो, प्रोटोकॉल्स लिख देते हो. ये हैंड रिटन थीसिस है उनका, सबमिटेड इन 1956 फॉर MS सर्जरी, और role of determination of blood volume and other associated vascular changes in the prognosis and treatment of surgical patients. ये हैंड रिटन ग्राफ्स, हैंड ड्रॉन ग्राफ्ट्स हैं, उनके हाथ के अपने बनाए हुए, उसको फ्रेम वाले कागज से चिपकाया हुआ है. ऐसे ऐसे कोई 85 उस थीसिस के अंदर हैं. और दैट इज द वे दे प्रोड्यूस्ड एंड डिड हार्ड वर्क. खुद करते थे, कोई आर्ट वर्क दूसरे से बनवाते नहीं थे. अभी तो सब आउटसोर्स कर देते हैं. स्टैटिस्टिशियन को स्टैटिस्टिक्स दे देते हैं, आर्टिस्ट को आर्ट वर्क दे देते हैं, बटन बजाते हैं तो करेक्शन आ जाती है. अब पता नहीं AI आएगा तो वो भी थीसिस लिखना शुरू कर देगा. I don't know what is in future for medical education. MS surgery he did from 1954 to 56 under stalwarts Professor L.M. Banerjee in surgery के stalwarts. Dr. B.C. Roy जो कि प्रोफेसर ऑफ मेडिसिन थे, हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट थे, प्रोफेसर ऑफ सर्जरी भी थे. ही वॉज वन ऑफ द फ्यू MRCP FRCS बोथ, एंड चीफ मिनिस्टर ऑफ बंगाल. 3 चीजें. लेक्चर लेने आते थे सुबह 8 बजे एग्जैक्ट, 9 बजे चले जाते थे, और घंटी से उनका अराइवल होता था, घंटी से उनका डिपार्चर होता था. ये डिसिप्लिन था. So he chose his career in plastic surgery in United Kingdom and left in 1956 in a ship journey of 1 month through the Suez Canal. जो बताते थे कि P&O की शिप थी, हम 1 महीना ट्रैवल करे, और क्योंकि मैं बहुत गरीब था तो मेरे को सबसे नीचे वाले, मतलब उसके नीचे पानी था कहते, वो सबसे सस्ती सीट थी जिसमें कोई खिड़की नहीं होती, कुछ नहीं होता, डेक में तो जाने का मौका ही नहीं मिलता. सबसे नीचे वाले रो में बैठ के 1 महीना, बीच बीच में जाते होंगे ऊपर हवा के लिए, आई डोंट नो. ही रीच्ड लंदन एंड देयर उन्होंने अपनी, वहाँ पर सबसे प्रेस्टीज माना जाता था FRCS करना. उस टाइम पे सारे टीचर्स FRCS होते थे, तो ये एक रुतबा था कि FRCS करोगे तो सर्जन बने. MS सर्जरी तो सब कर लेते हैं, लेकिन FRCS करके आओगे तो आप कुछ बात बनेगी. सो टू गेट दैट स्टैम्प ऑफ अप्रूवल ही वेंट एंड ही cleared his FRCS from not 1, not 2, but all the 3 royal colleges of UK, one after the other, and then became the senior registrar. और वहाँ पर एक इंसिडेंट हुआ कि जब वो प्रिपेयर कर रहे थे, तो इसलिए मैंने ये मोमबत्ती की फ़ोटो डाली है कि मोमबत्ती में वो पढ़ रहे थे और 3 महीने हो गए थे, और उनकी लैंड लेडी ने फिर उनका जो, क्योंकि वो उन्होंने फॉर्म लेना होता है कि कहाँ रहते हैं, घर कहाँ है, तो कोई बात नहीं थी, कुछ नहीं थी, तो ट्रंक कॉल से या पता नहीं चिट्ठी से मैसेज दिया पेरेंट्स को कि ये लड़का 3 महीने से बाहर नहीं आया है और इसको विटामिन D डेफिशिएंसी हो जाएगी, इसको धूप लगानी बहुत ज़रूरी है. दैट इज़ द वे, बैठ के पढ़ के ही क्लियर्ड द एग्ज़ाम इन अ कम्प्लीटली न्यू एनवायरनमेंट, बंगाल से पढ़ के ऑफ कोर्स, बट देन इन अ ब्रिटिश एनवायरनमेंट. एंड लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, आई वांट टू शो यू दैट व्हाट ही बिकेम as one of the few plastic surgeons in the UK at that time. This is the picture of the Lord Leeds University. And here he is seated on the front here. This is him here amongst the elite and all the other students. और फिर 56 से 61 तक उन्होंने 5 इयर्स वहाँ काम किया एज प्लास्टिक सर्जन, लर्निंग फ्रॉम द बेस्ट, हेरोल्ड गिलिस। बर्न्स के यूनिट में जो एक हम रूल ऑफ 9 पढ़ते हैं, जल जाता है तो कितने परसेंट, आपने सुना होगा कितने परसेंट बर्न हो गया, लोग बोलते हैं 10%, 15%, 20%, उसका एक फॉर्मूला है, सर अर्विंग वॉलस ने बनाया था। अर्विंग वॉलस के पास काम किया उन्होंने बंगूर में जाके। तो with the founders he got the opportunity to work with the founders of Burns, founders of plastic surgery, Harold Gillis himself, and all the other senior people. I'm forgetting some of the senior names. यहाँ पर आज बहुत सारे senior plastic surgeons आए हुए हैं. Some of his students are there. Some of his colleagues are here, whom he remembered, and I'll try to, see whether we can show you in your photographs in the coming. So, उनको अभी भी अपने कंट्री से बड़ा मोह था, तो पोस्ट निकली है प्लास्टिक सर्जरी की रीडर की नागपुर में, और ये बैठे हैं वहाँ पर 61 में, जहाँ पर थ्रेशोल्ड ऑफ बिकमिंग अ कंसल्टेंट, मतलब हमारी पूरी जिंदगी बदल जाती। देखिए हम यूके में थे, तो यूके में आदमी हो गया सेटल, तो आप सोचिए क्या है इकोनॉमिक, उसकी नौकरी निकली है यहाँ पर। इंडिया हाउस में कहते हैं मेरा इंटरव्यू हुआ, अंग्रेज़ों ने इंटरव्यू लिया, पोस्ट थी रीडर की इन प्लास्टिक सर्जरी। देखिए लेक्चरर इन प्लास्टिक सर्जरी, मेडिकल कॉलेज एंड हॉस्पिटल नागपुर, एडवर्टीजमेंट नंबर सो एंड सो, 20th January 1961, एंड लो एंड बिहोल्ड ही, एंड आप देखिए उनका लेटर क्या लिखा है, टू श्री जे.एल. गुप्ता, MS, FRCS, FICS, सर्जिकल रजिस्ट्रार, प्लास्टिक एंड मैक्सिलोफेशियल यूनिट, सेंट जेम्स हॉस्पिटल लीड्स। मीन्स ऑन द थ्रेशोल्ड ऑफ बिकमिंग अ कंसल्टेंट देयर, he's asked to come for a medical examination in Bombay, and finally he's writing from his Leeds A group letterhead on 26 November 1960 to respected Balakrishna, because Dr. Balakrishna was the professor and head of plastic surgery in Nagpur, और उनको नंबर 2 पर्सन चाहिए था रीडर टू स्टार्ट अ MCH प्रोग्राम। MCH के लिए 2 चाहिए, 2 टीचर चाहिए, सीनियर जूनियर। तो इनकी अपॉइंटमेंट होएगी तब जाके MCH की पढ़ाई, जो एक प्लास्टिक सर्जरी की MCH है, उसकी पढ़ाई तब शुरू होगी। तो बड़े डेस्परेट थे डॉक्टर बालाकृष्णा की, कोई आए लड़का, और ये देखिए इन्होंने भी फिर वो एक्सेप्ट किया कि मैं छोड़ के वो सारा कुछ, पाश्चात्य की अट्रैक्शन, ये सब कोठी थी, सब कुछ था, उसको छोड़ के वापस, क्योंकि उनके पास उनके फैमिली का, उनके कंट्री का अट्रैक्शन था। So that's the letterhead you can see, which shows him. And then he came back, उन्होंने रीडर का जॉब ले लिया, और ये एसोसिएशन ऑफ सर्जन्स ऑफ इंडिया जो हमारी नेशनल बॉडी है, उसका सेक्शन बना पहला, प्लास्टिक सर्जरी सेक्शन इन 1961 इन बड़ौदा। ये जो नीचे चेयर में बैठे हैं सर, गिनती के हैं, राइट में पहले फादर, उसके बाद बाकी सारे 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th नंबर पे डॉक्टर बालाकृष्णा है, 5th पे डॉक्टर RN सिन्हा है, क्योंकि ये घर में आके रुकते थे, मैं जानता हूँ इनको। 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 टीचर्स इन द कंट्री, 8 प्लास्टिक सर्जन्स इन इंडिया एट दैट टाइम। बाकी सब स्टूडेंट्स जो होंगे पीछे, डॉक्टर सीनियर्स भी हैं थोड़े, बट ऑब्वियसली सीनियर्स को बैठा दिया। दिस वॉज वॉट प्लास्टिक सर्जरी वॉज इन इंडिया इन 1961। और यहाँ पर फिर MCH की पढ़ाई शुरू हुई। बहुत सीनियर लोग जॉब से, डॉक्टर CR सुंदरराजन जॉब से अपनी वो उस पर जॉब से जो स्पॉन्सरशिप होती है उससे पढ़ाई के लिए अपनी MCH के लिए इनके पास आए। एंड सी दिस इज़ हाउ अ फाइन यंग मैन फ्रॉम UK। वो कहते हैं कि जब मैं वापस आया तो मैं तो 3-piece सूट में आ गया नागपुर में, और नागपुर में 44 डिग्री टेम्परेचर था, मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था ये मैं कहाँ आ गया, किधर से आया और कहाँ गिरा। I had no idea, but then he took up that challenge, and the rest, as they say, is history. As it would happen, Arya Naikam, who was a freedom fighter, उनके burns हो गए, और उनके यहाँ पर उनकी skin grafting की गई, और उस skin grafting की बात हुई है कोई 62 में मेरा ख्याल, और उस 62 में क्योंकि freedom fighter थे, तो उनको देखने PM नेहरू और हेल्थ मिनिस्टर सुशीला नायर आए। विजिट इज नॉर्मल थिंग कि भाई फ्रीडम फाइटर जल गए हैं, उनको देख लेते हैं कैसे हैं वो। तो उन्होंने दिखाया कि ये प्लास्टिक सर्जरी है, ये जल गया, यहाँ से चमड़ी निकाली, यहाँ डाली, बड़ी अजीब चीज़, पिक्चर्स भी दिखाई उनको कि ये प्लास्टिक सर्जरी होती है। तो पंडित नेहरू ने अपनी मिनिस्टर से पूछा कि ये महकमा क्या हमारे पास दिल्ली में है? दिल्ली में तो है नहीं, पायनियर तो नागपुर में हो रहा है, एमसीएच प्रोग्राम नागपुर में चला हुआ है, दिल्ली में नहीं है। तो जाके पोस्ट एडवर्टाइज हुई फॉर अ प्लास्टिक सर्जन, रिक्रूटमेंट ऑफ पोस्ट ऑफ प्लास्टिक सर्जरी एट सफदरजंग हॉस्पिटल, क्योंकि सफदरजंग हॉस्पिटल ही एक अकेला अस्पताल था दिल्ली में, अमेरिकन हॉस्पिटल बोलते थे उसको, वॉर के विक्टिम्स के लिए बना था 1942 में। तो वो एक था, वहाँ पर ये इंटरव्यू की डेट 19 अगस्त 1963 2:30 PM, और ये अल्टीमेटली उनका सिलेक्शन लेटर। और बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बात है, मैं अपने तुषार को भी बता रहा था, मैंने भी ध्यान नहीं दिया कि उनका सिलेक्शन लेटर इज डेटेड 2 November 1963 विच इज माई बर्थ डे। एंड इट सेज, देखिए, द अंडरसाइंड इज डायरेक्टेड टू से, ये स्टैंडर्ड वर्डिंग है, श्रीधर जी यहाँ बैठे हैं जी, सरकारी की स्टैंडर्ड वर्किंग है। Recommendation of the UPSC, the President is pleased to offer the appointment of Dr. Jogendra Lal Gupta to the post of surgeon plastic। उनको तो ये भी नहीं पता था पोस्ट क्या लिखनी है, सर्जन ब्रैकेट प्लास्टिक सर्जरी, कुछ नहीं पता था कि क्या आगे उसका होना चाहिए, डेजिग्नेशन क्या होनी चाहिए, कुछ नहीं पता था। और आप तनख्वाह देखिए, स्केल ऑफ पे 700, हिज इनिशियल पे विल बी फिक्स्ड एट 980 पर मंथ। तो उन्होंने कहा मैं कहाँ छोड़ के, यूके से, कहाँ से, नागपुर से, और इंडिया में अपनी सर्विस करने, बट ही एक्सेप्टेड दैट बिकॉज ही वॉज हैडिंग अ विजन। एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स ही सेट अप द डिपार्टमेंट, एंड in the same college in Nagpur he met my mother Anu Gupta, and that is his initial picture, and you can say no wonder why anybody would not fall for her. So I can't blame my father. And on the 16th of May 1966, this affair of 5 years possibly got culminated in marriage, and that's the marriage pictures. और वो मेरी grandmother और grandfather हैं उसमें, और possibly reception की या शादी की picture है, शादी की होनी चाहिए। So he set up this department, started the first MCH। तो जिस साल मेरी पैदाइश हुई है 1967 में, उस साल पिताजी ने इंडिया में फर्स्ट MCH प्लास्टिक सर्जरी प्रोग्राम चालू किया। दैट मीन्स द प्रोग्राम, एंड दिस इज द फर्स्ट प्रोग्राम इन नॉर्थ इंडिया। वहाँ तो हो चुका था, नागपुर में ऑलरेडी हो चुका था, डॉक्टर CR सुंदरराजन पहले वहाँ के प्रोडक्ट थे। सो एंड ही इज रिटन दिस हिमसेल्फ इन वन ऑफ द बुक्स। एंड यहाँ पर मैं एक उनके किताब से एक लाइन पढ़ना चाहता हूँ, फॉर ऑल द यंगर पीपल ऑल्सो, सम सर्जन्स एंड अदर्स, टू सी द विजनरी, द ऑथर वुड प्रेफर टू कॉल प्लास्टिक सर्जरी एज अ ब्रॉड स्पेशलिटी and a plastic surgeon as a very specialized general surgeon, because वो हमेशा कहते थे कि ये head to foot speciality है बेटा, इसमें हम सिर से लेके पैर तक पूरे में काम करते हैं, because he was very fond of the word using reconstructive reparative surgery, बार बार बोलते थे हर एक को reconstructive reparative surgery है। He was very proud of the fact. So, and then of course in the scene came myself on the 2nd November, and that is one of our initial pictures of a single child. I was a late child of a late marriage. Parents were 41 when I was born, so obviously they could not contemplate a second child. It was very risky and dangerous. Even the first pregnancy must have been very challenging. He set up this department of burns and plastic, which was catering to everybody, from the common man to the Prime Minister. Everybody would come to the burns and plastic surgery department. And यहाँ पर आज I can see so many, Dr. Ayan Tiwari is there, Dr. Bhandari, Dr. Goel, there's so many plastic surgeons, Dr. Ahuja, सारे जो जानते हैं कि इस डिपार्टमेंट से ही सारे बीज इधर उधर गए। Some 40-50 MCH students were qualified, and सारे जाके उनको सब लोगों को अपनी जगह पे सेटल किया। ये एक पुरानी आर्काइव्स की पिक्चर है। डॉक्टर जकेटिया हैं ये। आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी आर एबल टू रिकॉग्नाइज डॉक्टर जकेटिया, वेरी नॉटी वन, जिन्होंने स्ट्राइक में भाग लिया। 1974 की फेमस रेजिडेंट्स की स्ट्राइक हुई थी तनख्वाह बढ़ाने के लिए। और सर डॉक्टर तिवारी सब मुस्कुरा रहे हैं। एंड डॉक्टर टक्कर हैं साथ में, डॉक्टर के.एल. टक्कर, ही इज़ नो मोर नाउ अनफॉर्चुनेटली, पापा हैं। और इतने सारे प्रोडक्ट्स। तो वो मुझे एक चीज़, हमारे घर पे एक्सपर्ट्स आते थे, घर में रहते थे, कोई गेस्ट हाउस नहीं बुक करना पड़ता था, घर में रखते थे और फिर उनको वो इंटरव्यू के लिए यूपीएससी ले जाते थे, अपने लोगों को पढ़ाते थे और फिर डिफरेंट स्टेट्स में जहाँ वो जाके वेयर दे वांट टू वर्क, दे यूज्ड टू गो एज एक्सपर्ट्स to that state in the public service commission of that state, and then select those boys who have been prepared by you so that they can start a job, start a department there. कितनी सोच, पहले बच्चा तैयार करना, उसके बाद स्टेट्स में एडवर्टीजमेंट निकलवाना, फिर एक्सपर्ट्स की तरह दूसरे इंस्टीट्यूशन में जाना, उनको सिलेक्ट करना और उसके डिपार्टमेंट के बीज बो देने। And then this became the Makkah for everybody. Dr. Inderjeet Singh, who was looking after maxillofacial, and he was the president of the Association of Plastic Surgeons of India in 1974. Dr. V.V. Giri, every stalwart would come visit in conferences, be a part of many events, and the burns unit, which was the largest burns unit of its kind in the whole world at that time. He used to say there was not a single person in the world who has not visited this department to see how the burns is being managed. And the burns department of Safdarjung Hospital is unique, that it is a hospital within a hospital. It is independent in its PWD, in its electricity, water supply, everything, air conditioning is a separate thing within a hospital. And for his stalwart action, for pioneering this department, he was recognized as with the award of the Padamshri in 1974, Shri V.V. Giri. And visitors coming, Dr. J.B. Srivastav was the Director General, Mrs. Srivastav. In the government of the Janata Dal, he was recognized with the award of Dr. B.C. Roy National Award, which was given by the then Prime Minister Morarji Desai, and then the Fellowship of the National Academy of Medical Sciences by the President, Shri Fakhruddin Emily Ahmed, many awards like that. And then there was a challenge in his mind that the death is happening because of infections. So how do we prevent infections? So he got hold of two pioneer microbiologists in UK who were known for working on Pseudomonas vaccine, and then he tied up, और ये दोनों हैं रॉड एंड एलिजाबेथ रो एंड जोन्स, ये घर पे भी आए हुए हैं, डॉक्टर टक्कर हैं साथ में, मिसेस टक्कर हैं, ये हमारे ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स हैं, यूज्ड टू बी जैसे गेट टुगेदर्स होती हैं। You can imagine they were able to make a vaccine for Pseudomonas in 1979. And this was the controlled trial published in the Lancet in 1979. And then the second paper was published again in 1980, Pseudomonas immunoglobulin and vaccine. लेकिन ये कहाँ गई? What happened to it? It's not here. What played up? Antibiotic manufacturers were shocked. And I can say that today without any problem because that's the end of an era. I need to say it. कब तक बंद रखेंगे इस बात को? Fearing loss of revenue from antibiotic sales dipping due to vaccination, the Medical Research Center unit in the UK, which was funding this study, was closed overnight. Overnight, within 24 hours. Mr. Jones and Dr. Rowe and Dr. Jones were retired overnight by a golden handshake. All the vaccine sera samples, entire research work was confiscated, and they were asked to live a retired life quietly at the end of one place in UK. And I went and met them there. So that's how it works. Gentlemen, things are not easy. Science is also not very easy. Science is also full of problems in its own ways. But he kept working. He made the silver sulfadiazine cream. My cousin brothers, Dr. Jitinder, Dr. Kavinder, myself, we were all there in Delhi home. This is just a picture. Our construction of our own home in Swasthya Vihar started, and then was the loss of his parents. And he regretted very much that he could not be there with his father's death or with his mother's death. They were about 11 years apart. He always used to respect and pray only his parents and grandparents. भगवान वो कहते थे मेरा इन्हीं के अंदर है, अगर मैं इनकी पूजा कर रहा हूं तो मैं भगवान की पूजा कर रहा हूं. Lot of love and regard for his brother. अगर आपने कभी किसी ब्रदर को जाते हुए देखना हो तो how they would become emotional, एक दूसरे को देख नहीं पाते थे. In elderly age also we have found, and people used to be surprised how much love and affection they used to have for each other. He would keep working society में. He made in स्वास्थ्य विहार के बहुत लोग आए हुए हैं यहाँ पर. उनको पता होना चाहिए कि स्वास्थ्य विहार क्लब की आधारशिला पिताजी ने रखी. As the president of the society there, उन्होंने जगह के लिए फाइट किया. उन्होंने पीछे का रास्ता निकाला जिससे कि अब शादियां आराम से हो पाती हैं, ताकि आपके अंदर डिस्टर्बेंस ना हो पाए. पीछे का जो रोड है, जो उधर बड़े वाले रोड में निकलता है, जो PSK वाला रोड है, वो वाला भी उन्होंने बनाया. और फिर 93 में उन्होंने नेशनल एकेडमी ऑफ बर्न्स इंडिया फाउंड करी, क्योंकि वो चाहते थे कि बर्न्स का बहुत पेन था उनको कि गरीबों की बीमारी है, एंड इट क्रिपल्स पीपल, इट डिफॉर्म्स पीपल, एंड ही वाज वेरी मच अटैच्ड. ही सेज कि इसका इलाज नहीं है यार, इसका प्रिवेंशन होना चाहिए. सो ही वाज मेड दिस एकेडमी. ऑब्वियसली बर्न्स का प्रिवेंशन, फिर ऑब्वियसली ट्रीटमेंट के मोडालिटीज भी सारे डिस्कस होंगे. So this was inaugural conference, inaugurated at Maulana Azad Medical College, first conference. Now it has a legacy that has continued, and several presidents of National Academy are sitting here in the audience today who have taken that torch forward, and he will be so proud today that you all are here to carry that legacy forward. So that was Gyani Zayal Singh as the President of India who came to MAMC to the founding conference. And I was also there because I was a student of surgery at that time. And then various meetings he used to attend. This is the 2000 meeting, another one, another NABICON meeting, various pictures that we could get. He was felicitated. Dr. Karun Agarwal is here in this picture. He's sitting here. Maybe one of the meetings done at Pondicherry, I would say. I don't know, maybe. But fond memories with all of you who are here. Dr. Bajaj is there. Dr. Narayan is sitting on the front. He used to be very jovial person. उनका laughter आपको अभी तक याद होना चाहिए. जिसने उनको मिला हुआ है, उनकी हंसी, उनका smiling face, उनकी life in every breath, full of life, loud, very positive, very vibrant. कोई भी बंदा उनके साथ बात करके 1 मिनट में वैसे ही ठीक हो जाता था. इलाज की तो ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती थी. So various awards, various recognitions. Here's Dr. Walia as the Health Minister of Delhi, giving something on behalf of the East Delhi Academy. And then of course 94 comes, and 94 में गाना आया था, एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा हुआ. कैसा हुआ? बस ये हो गया. My father-in-law, Shri I.D. Sood, and very happy arranged marriage. And Kalpana came into my life, and that was a life-changing experience for me, because I was alone, I was battling everything alone, and now मैं 1 और 1 11 हो गया हर चीज में. The strength became double, not double, 11 times to face the world. And that is the first child, or is Pranav or Tushar? So grandfather with his grandchildren, and celebrations together with everyone. I think it's Amit which needs to come in. Where is Amit now? You also got lost in the story. The happy family that we are, we will continue this, but that is one of the pictures which is one of my most memorable pictures. On the Diwali day, we used to celebrate Diwali together, and since Pranav was very rarely here because he's been away for his education and job 10 years for the last 10 years, this was one of the occasions when he was also with us.
What a time travel. Thank you very much, Dr. Pavanendra. डॉक्टर जेएल गुप्ता की स्टोरी सुन के बहुत आनंद भी आ रहा है, बहुत गर्व भी महसूस हो रहा है, और शायद आज चिन्मय मिशन ऑडिटोरियम में बहुत से अभी लोग वो जो आपने मैथ्स की रिडल शेयर की थी डॉक्टर पवनेंद्र, उसको अभी तक सॉल्व करने का प्रयास भी कर रहे होंगे. तो वाकई देखिए कितनी प्रेरणादायक कहानी है. 1928 में आपका जन्म हुआ हिमाचल प्रदेश के साधारण से परिवार में. कितना संघर्ष आपने सहा, और फिर आप में ललक थी कि नहीं मैंने डॉक्टरी की पढ़ाई करनी है. कलकत्ता में गए, और जैसे डॉक्टर साहब ने बताया कि वो बहुत धारा प्रवाह फ्लुएंटली बंगाली भी बोल लेते थे. एडजस्ट सिर्फ कलकत्ता में ही नहीं किया, जब लंदन गए तो देखिए वो तस्वीर, जब आपने तस्वीर चलाई तो हम भी सोच रहे होंगे कि आखिरकार वो मोमबत्ती, उसकी रोशनी क्या कहानी बयां कर रही है. तो 3 महीनों अपने आप को कमरे में बंद रखकर पढ़ाई की, और एडवांस शिक्षा दीक्षा लेकर चाहते तो विदेश में ही कार्य कर सकते थे, लेकिन स्वदेश लौटे और यहाँ पर सफदरजंग अस्पताल में डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ बर्न्स खोला. बर्न्स और प्लास्टिक सर्जरी में आपके अमूल्य योगदान के लिए आपको सम्मानित भी किया गया. और फिर वो चित्र इतने खूबसूरत थे, चाहे वो शादी का चित्र हो, दोस्तों के साथ, परिवार के साथ, और बहुत ही खूबसूरत फ़ोटोज़ के माध्यम से आपने कहानी बताई है. तो ये कहानी तो अभी 90s तक पहुँची है. मैं कुछ ही देर में डॉक्टर पवनेंद्र को फिर से आमंत्रित करूँगा, ताकि जब 21वीं सदी के पहले 2 दशक की बात हो तो वहाँ पर उनकी क्या उपलब्धियाँ थी, क्या वो कहते थे, उस चरित्र के बारे में भी बताएं. लेकिन क्योंकि इस फोटो में हम आए हैं, इस फोटो में हम प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर जेएल गुप्ता के ग्रैंडसन्स को देख रहे हैं. तो प्रणव हों, तुषार हों, वो दोनों भी अपने दादू को बहुत फॉन्डली याद करते हैं. और तुषार अब डॉक्टर तो बन ही गए हैं, तो डॉक्टर तुषार, लेकिन आपके जहन में आ रहा होगा कि अब स्पेशलाइज किस पे करेंगे. तो अगर दादू सर्जरी में हो, पिताजी भी सर्जरी में हो, तो डॉक्टर तुषार भी आगे सर्जरी में ही जाने की सोच रहे हैं. स्वागत कीजिए कि एक पोते से जाने कि आखिरकार उनके जीवन में दादू का प्रभाव कैसा रहा. प्लीज वेलकम डॉक्टर तुषार.
Just look at the big smile there. That's exactly how I will, and I'm sure most of you will remember Dadu. He was someone who would light up the room as soon as he would enter and charm anyone or everyone in it and bring a positive energy with him. He had a bold personality like no other, and you could literally hear him from a mile away. To say that I'm lucky to be one of his grandchildren is an understatement. It is a blessing that I'm truly grateful for and will be for the rest of my life. It is a challenge to speak today, to put into words the many things that I would like to say about him. Dadu loved to share his life experiences, and what an amazing memory he had. Ask him anything about his childhood and he would tell you each and everything with the most vivid details. He has taught me so many lessons about life, lessons that I will remember and hopefully live by. During the later part of his life, Dadu always said that having lived well into his 90s was always and already a great blessing, and that he was the first one in his own family to have lived beyond the 90s. As a child, when he was in his 70s, I still remember how active he was. From opening the doors in the morning to taking the dog for a walk, and then dropping my brother and I to the bus stop, he could do anything. He was a man of discipline, though. He really stuck to the saying, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. He would get up at 6 and sleep by 10, and this was the routine he maintained all his life. One of the things that I loved about him was how he could be talking to even the Prime Minister or a security guard. He would give the utmost respect to them. Dadu was never a big believer of God. Every day before leaving to work, he would bow down in front of our small temple, not to worship God, but his parents, who he thought of as his only gods. He was a conservative man who would never spend money on unnecessary things and would be more than happy with just the basic needs of comfort. He was a self-made man, and having worked so hard all his life to achieve things that people could only dream of, he literally came from nothing and went on to do wonders in the field of plastic surgery in our country. He was a man inspired so much by Ghalib, he would often quote him, "रगों में दौड़ते फिरने से हम नहीं हैं कायल, जो आंख से ना टपका वो लहू क्या है." He was a gold medalist throughout his college life, but never pressurized me to do the same. He is someone who understood that everyone has his or her own capabilities. He would often say, "कॉलेज में एक बार बस घुस जाओ, फिर 5 के 6, 6 के 7, 7 के 8 साल भी लग जाएं तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है." We would often have some victims of burn accidents come home for basic first aid. As a child of merely 6 or 7 years, I had seen things that only doctors would see in their day-to-day practice and would end up assisting him to do basic dressings for patients. This was a turning point in my life as I saw how gratifying it is to help people in need. Dadu had such a big influence on my decision to become a doctor, and he was so happy and proud about it. I was learning how to ride a bicycle, and my dad had put those supporting wheels on the sides so that I don't fall down. Dadu saw that one day, and while I was at school, he got those wheels removed. He said, "अगर ऐसे support लेते रहोगे, तो सीखोगे कैसे?" He supported me for the initial bit and then let go, and before I could realize, I was cycling on my own. This was just one example where he taught me how important it is to be independent and confident in whatever you do. We also had a rule at home to never go outside the house with slippers. A shoe was always a must. He'd say, "अगर कभी भागना पड़ जाए, तो चप्पल में कैसे भागोगे?" I didn't think of it much at the time but it was such an important lesson. He would also ask my brother and I to keep an identity card in our pockets at all times as a safety measure. Another thing that we've been following for years now is to keep a wooden stick and torch in our cars. This was a protective measure in case we would ever have to break a window or use it as a weapon in times of danger. He always said, "Emergencies don't come knocking at your door, and one should always be prepared for the worst." He was so particular about his dress code and would always be appropriately dressed for any occasion. I still remember him coming back from work and putting his safari suit or a suit neatly back into a hanger. This is one of many habits that I personally adopted myself. He was such a perfectionist, almost as if he had OCD. To all those who have known him, you will remember the small diary that he used to keep and carry with him everywhere he went. He would make a note of all the daily tasks he had done, the people he met, and would also go on to attach their visiting cards to the page and date when he met them. All the tasks that he could not complete, it would go on to the next day. Before making any plans or commitments, he would always check his diary and give his availability accordingly. And I think that's something we should all make a note of, especially my dad. Now, this is something he was shit scared to do in front of my grandmother, but he would always ask me or my brother to give him company for an occasional smoking session. He would, in a very childish way, make plans for me to drive him around to do some small work. I know very well it was just an excuse to enjoy a cigarette. He was not a very big eater. He would all but just very selectively taste things like a good tandoori chicken or something as sweet as ice cream, which he very fondly ate. He was the perfect example of eat to live, but not live to eat. At the age of 85, we all asked him to take a break from work and finally enjoy his retired life. Being a workaholic did not help, but he made peace with it eventually and found a new routine at home which he could enjoy. He was taught in Persian and would usually write Ghalib's poetry or sometimes his own in Urdu in his diary and would recite it out loud. I was so lucky to spend so much time with him. We would often sit together and watch TV. I think most people wouldn't know this, but his favorite channels to watch were the National Geographic and Discovery, particularly the Bear Grylls show Man vs. Wild. He loved to watch anything to do with nature, from mountains to wild animals. He also enjoyed watching Charlie Chaplin's small filler videos that used to come in between and would laugh hysterically while doing so. Dadu was the most caring person I knew. I was in a medical college for almost 6 years, and I cannot remember a single day when Dadu didn't call to check on me. He wasn't someone who liked talking on call for very long. Our conversation would be very brief. He'd say, "Hello, betu, kaise ho? तुम कॉलेज से वापस आ गए क्या?" And I would say, "हाँ, मैं आ गया," या "मैं आ रहा हूँ." And he would say, "All well. मौसम कैसा है?" And at the end of it, he'd say, "Take care, अपना ध्यान रखना." That's the only thing he would ever say. He would always look forward to my visit back home, and I used every single opportunity or excuse to go back just to see him and spend time with him. My friends from school and college were equally very close to him. After meeting them just once, he would remember where they were coming from and always had a fun story to tell about these places. Like my friend who would come from Panipat, he would always tell them his hunting stories from Panipat when he used to go back then. And my friend from Jalandhar, he always used to talk about his days in the refugee camp that he spent. Up until very recently, I often used to tell him how fit and healthy he is and that he has many more years left, to which he would say, "एक पका हुआ फल है, पेड़ पे लगा हुआ है, दूर से बहुत अच्छा दिख रहा है, but वो कभी भी गिर सकता है." He was such a witty and funny man. The week before he passed away, he saw the picture of my grandmother in our living room and said, "यार, यहाँ मेरी फोटो की तो जगह ही नहीं है, थोड़ी सी जगह तो बना लो." Dadu did not just teach me life lessons. He taught me how to live and become a good human being. I never thought I would experience something this painful. This is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with. I've not just lost my grandfather, I've lost a companion and a friend. But I know Dadu is going to be with me forever, like a guardian angel, always looking over my shoulder, and will continue to be incredibly proud of all the things I achieve. Thank you all for being here today. It means a lot to me and my family. There are some messages that I would also like to read out loud from various people. This is a message that was published by the National Academy of Burns India. The campaign for a national program of burns was spearheaded by J.L. Gupta, and the program was implemented during the 12th five-year plan of Government of India. He was a recipient of the prestigious Padamshri Award. His demise is a profound loss to the nation. He was a towering figure and was responsible for the dawn of Renaissance of burns care in India. Dr. Gupta will remain a guiding light and inspiration for all of us and will live forever in our hearts. He will live in the hearts of every burn professional who toil hard to advance burn care in India. He will live forever in hearts of innumerable burns victims which he healed with his healing touch. This was another message by one of his students, Dr. S.P. Bajaj, who wrote a tribute for him and wrote, "With the passing away of Dr. J.L. Gupta, an era has ended in the management and development of burn care facilities in India." Dr. Prabhat Srivastav said, "Extremely saddened to learn about the demise of respected Dr. J.L. Gupta, whom I often affectionately referred to as the Bhishma Pitama of burn fraternity in our country." Dr. J.L. Jakatia wrote, "We lost a pioneer and pillar of plastic surgery in India." Having worked with Dr. J.L. Gupta as a JR in Tiyatram Hospital in the year 86-87 brings back those sweet memories where I learned not only the art of surgery, he was an artistic surgeon, but also the intricacies of practicing it in private sector. Dr. Yogesh Gautam wrote, "I always remember Professor JLG, a spiritly man in his trademark dress of spick and span white coat over a banyan, full of energy and practical wisdom. He left a lasting impression from just a 15 days rotation in Burns unit in my third year in 1975. So sad to learn the sad demise of the legend of Himachal Pradesh, who by virtue of his coveted professional qualifications during the times when it was beyond comprehension of anyone in Himachal Pradesh to attain, and then to establish himself as an eminent professional, carving burns and plastic surgery center at the Safdarjung Hospital, when general surgery department used to cover all domains and treat even prime ministers. Such souls come after thousands of years." Dr. Raj Bahadur. "In the tapestry of life, threads of sorrow and grace, we weave memories, a poignant embrace. Gupta uncle's laughter, auntie's gentle song, in our hearts their legacy strong. Through tears that fall like gentle rain, their spirits linger, a comforting refrain. Though they've crossed to the other side, love's eternal bond in our hearts will abide." This is from our family. "I remember Professor J.L. Gupta with fondness, and it was my great honor and privilege to receive support and encouragement from him. I admired his tenacity and commitment to ensure the support of the Government of India in achieving success in the burns prevention drive throughout the country." Dr. M.F. Sheikh. This is just 1 week back when Dadu recited one of Ghalib's famous quotes.
हर एक बात पे कहते हो कि तू क्या है, तुम ही कहो कि अंदाज़े गुफ्तगू क्या है।
To conclude, I have a message from my elder brother Pranav, who is in the UK and who could not make it here today.
हर एक बात
Hi, I'm Pranav. I live in the UK and unfortunately couldn't be there in person. Thank you everyone for coming to my grandfather's memorial. I'm sure everyone already knows about the achievements of my grandfather. If you ever met him, I'm certain he told you about some of them himself. He could talk endlessly about his life and experience, and most importantly, his achievements and accomplishments. Hopefully, I can give you some insight into his life and the things he didn't talk about very often. I bonded with my grandfather as an adult over Urdu poetry and smoking. He would tell me about the beauty in the words of Mirza Ghalib and Faiz Ahmed Faiz, while I would light up another cigarette, another cigar, another pipe, and another hookah. He was fond of smoking, and I was very fond of watching him be in his own element. These times we shared, he forgot the hierarchy. He forgot our relation, and we were just friends, hanging out. My grandfather and his family come from a vastly contrasting, yet vaguely familiar time compared to our lives. His childhood was laden in poverty, and he found his hope to escape that life through the path of his idol, Dr. Devi Chand. He was unlucky to have a low quality of life, but extremely lucky at the same time of being unconditionally supported by his mother, Pulna Devi, and his sister, Purna. He was the golden child. Everyone bet on him to pull their family out of harsh times and into a better future. This pressure and burden did not come across as a negative thing to him, but something that liberated him to truly follow his dreams. He left his family behind and kept moving forward while keeping them in his heart, something I can relate to. Since leaving India, it has been my primary endeavor to come to understand my grandparents more deeply and find what we may have in common. And I did find a lot. I just regret that they hid this side of theirs for most of my life, and more importantly, for all of my parents' lives. My Dadu was a very jovial and funny guy. It's something we only experience in small doses, but they were still delightful because of how rare they were. Unlike his endeavors, he was the opposite of worldly in his life. He wore clothes like his parents would have worn, ate food his mum would have cooked, and lived his retired life not very differently from the way his life would have been in his village. He found his companion in life in my Dadi. They were a power couple, true to his description. They lived their lives on their own terms, whether others liked that or not. It didn't seem to bother them. It was a love story in many ways. My grandfather took pride in passing on knowledge whenever he could. He would try and pull me aside and try to teach me about repairing different objects that he would take apart and try to go at it on his own. He would also put on slideshows in the afternoon to try and show me and my brother different surgical techniques he came up with. Some might say that would be too traumatic for a child, but I seem to enjoy it. He was also an avid hunter in his time, coming from a hunting family, and he loved talking about the correct ways of cooking game. Funnily enough, he also warned me about the women in the West and how I should stay away. And that didn't seem to work because I have somehow ended up with someone from the West. It does, however, tell you something about his experience in the UK. There are many lessons to be learned from his life. You can look at his career as something to strive to. His pioneering instincts are well known. But even in his personal life, he was a surgeon through and through. I would like everyone here to celebrate the positives in his life and also to learn from him. Just like my Dadu, I can personally say that I don't have many regrets. I just wish that when I finally got to visit Pakistan last year, I could take him along with me. Though I'm still glad that I got to visit all the places he talked about and experience all the culture that he cherished. Also, just like my Dadu, I'm vocal and I too speak my mind, which is why I told him how much I loved him, but we also aired things that needed to be aired. Maybe that's why we could be friends. We let out our grievances to each other and grew past that to something greater. And so I hope I've given you some insight into who my grandfather was outside of his professional life. And I would like to revisit 3 things that I've talked about that I would like you all to take away with you today. Firstly, to live your life as you would like to live it, without worrying too much about the others. Secondly, to live without regrets. And lastly, to grow past your grievances. I'm thankful I got to learn these things from my grandfather while he was alive, and I hope that in his passing, these lessons are shared with all of you as well. Thank you. Hi.
Thank you very much, Pranav and Dr. Tushar, for sharing your cherished memories and emotions with your Dadu. And like you said, as a guardian angel, his blessings will always be with you and with all of us. I'm reminded of the film Anand that came in 1971, directed by Rishikesh Mukherjee. So if you recall, that film is a classic, was a super hit then in the 70s, and even if you watch it now in 2024, you end up watching the full film. Yes? So one wonders, what was the film all about? Because Rajesh Khanna was such a superstar those days. And in the very first scene itself, they reveal that the protagonist of the story, Anand, is no more. But then you realize the film clicked because it was not about Anand being no more. It was about how he lived. And that's why living your life is so very essential. And today, as we hear the journey and life of Professor Dr. J.L. Gupta, it's about how he lived. And see how not only he impacted each one of us, the next generation, such vivid memories that will stay with us for long. So Dr. Pavnindra Lal, his son, I'd like to invite him again, shared about his father's journey from 1928, his birth year, till 90s we had come to that picture where the grandsons came. Let's continue the story and see the 2 decades that Dr. Gupta spent in this 21st century. What was that story all about? Dr.
Thank you, Amit. So the next 15 years, while our children were small, Pranav and Tushar, Papa spent a lot of time thinking about how to get the dream, ultimate dream of prevention of burns established. And it is then that he had hundreds and thousands of meetings in the ministry. And with the support of a lot of people, but one person whom I like to acknowledge here, Mr. Sridhar, who worked together to, as a team to have so many rounds of meetings with the officials. He was able to get finally the approval of this program, and his soul would be so much happy now that this national program has got into action in the 11th 5-year plan, and it's now a well-established program. It's running as an independent program, and we are so glad that he, as the single man force behind it, was able to get it done with a lot of perseverance. This is a photograph of 2010 when I was awarded a college overseas medal at the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh, and we could take our parents, they were in their 80s, and with my teacher and trainee, Mr. Pradeep Datta, and his wife, and our young sons, and both of us, me and Kalpana. This is a picture taken at the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. This is a memory of all of us. And it was at that hall where Mr. Datta remarked that in this very hall today we are having 2 fellows of 2 generations. Father, Dr. J.L. Gupta, a fellow of 1956, and his son, Pavnindra Lal, a fellow of the college of 1996, 40 years later. And we have a budding one in Dr. Tushar, who might like to become another fellow of the college. That was made by Mr. Datta, and we lost Mr. Datta also a few years back. due to COVID. And here are some memories of our family members who are here, who kept meeting us at home, and some of you are already here in the audience. And these are all pictures of the last 1 or 2 years, very nostalgic pictures which we could take out from our album. Bhai Sahib is here, Pradeep Bhai Sahib is here, and you can see the very excited, he was like a childish excitement to pictures. He could never believe that a picture can be seen immediately on the phone. He just couldn't believe it. And the selfies would just rock him out completely. That, I mean, you take like this and then you show him, he will see the curiosity in his eyes. And Dr. Bose, one of the surgeons, visited him in the last few weeks. This is our Chacha, Colonel Surinder, had come, one of the pictures of him. Dr. Sood came and meet. He was MAMCO's president at that time. This was the MAMCO's function in MAMC. And then a very striking coincidence happened in 2016, when I also got awarded the B.C. Roy Award. And my father got it in 78. And so Kalpana took this opportunity to dress both of us up on the same day, and get him dressed actually, and with his medal out from the archives of our almari, we took out and we took this picture. Look how the quality has changed. You see, that time there was so much national pride in 1978 that there was a saffron, white and green, and now it's just a red ribbon. Last few weeks, we used to avoid my father walking a lot because he used to get a little breathless. So we used to move him only in the wheelchair, but he was independent otherwise. Socially, he was very much connected. He was participating in social events, our Himachal Academy, Cultural Academy functions. This is one of the pictures from there. He had the opportunity to meet with all these stalwarts and get recognized through various awards and functions. And Abdul Kalam, both as president as well as in the past president category, were able to meet. This is one of the pictures with some of the plastic surgeon seniors. Professor Bhatnagar, who was one of his postgraduates and founded the the KGMC department, is no more there now. Some of the family pictures also come in. This is one of the family pictures of our marriage, when a lot of our family members are together here. Some of you will be able to recollect. And you heard how my father was very much indebted to those who have been responsible for giving their prime towards, getting him to get educated. And that included his sister, Purna Bua, who is sitting in the green. And this is one of the pictures of all the three senior citizens, my parents and my mother-in-law. We were all together. We made sure that we are all together at home, and serving them, I think, is a better idea than visiting temples and other places, because if we can look after our parents, I think it's a divine blessing. And this is one of the Lodi functions at our home. And they need a lot of looking after. This is one thing. We were able to take our parents out to pilgrimage, and this is to the Golden Temple. And this is one of the pictures with our family again. Somendra, Nita is here. This is a picture at our Kullu home, taken in Bajora. And then this is another picture of the state award, the day I was given the state award, and he was very happy, and we took a family picture. Another family picture with the family of Kalpana, his Bua and their children. And this is, we were always a little bit, very scared to celebrate their anniversaries or any events publicly. डर लगता था, एज बहुत ज़्यादा थी, नज़र ना लग जाए. लेकिन 2016 50 साल 16 थे ना कल्पना 16 में वी सेड 50 इयर्स तो करना पड़ेगा. सो 50 इयर्स की सेलिब्रेशन का फंक्शन था. लॉट ऑफ यू हैव कम देयर टू दैट. दिस इज़ द टीम, डॉक्टर करुण अग्रवाल, डॉक्टर बजाज, श्रीधर जी, and this was the cake cutting. Bhai Sahib is here, Himinder Bhai Sahib, Bhavi ji, and all of us were there. Pandotra ji was there. He is not there anymore now. We lost him as well. And lovely pictures. Look at the way in which he was very proud of me as well. I must say that. I'm sure he will be happy that we are carrying his legacy forward. Friends and families at this. Some of you are here. Richa's family. Vinny Chacha is here. Kaista uncle, we've lost. Mrs. Kaista has come today. Dr. Karun Agarwal. See how he was to be concerned. किसी को कष्ट नहीं देते थे. वहाँ पर हमने घर में भी उनके हेल्प के लिए ना एक लड़का रखा था रात को, just to help him go to the toilet, and he was going to the toilet independently till the last day. That was God's grace. And he would still not wake him up. उससे बचा के उसको निकल के जाते थे. वो तो सो रहा है बेचारा. किसी को कष्ट नहीं देना. इस पिक्चर में शायद पूछने आए हैं भाई आपने खाना खाया नहीं खाया. Always concerned about others. ठोकर लग जाती थी हमारे को घर में, जैसे लगती है तो चोट तो नहीं लगी बेटा आपको. I mean, it was a natural response. और दिस इज दी गालिब का शेर विच ही यूज्ड टू रिपीट वेरी रिसेंटली ऑल्सो. इन आबलों से पाँव के घबरा गया था मैं, जी खुश हुआ है राह को पुरखार देखकर. आई वुड लाइक टू एक्सप्लेन दिस टू यू कि पैरों में छाले पड़ गए हैं. आबले मीन्स छाले पड़ गए हैं. तो उससे मेरे को बड़ी यू कांट वॉक व्हेन यू वॉकिंग लॉन्ग और छाले पड़ जाएं तो फिर यू कांट वॉक. दिल सो हाउ डू यू रप्चर देम. तो आई एम वेरी हैप्पी कि अब कांटे आ गए हैं रास्ते में कांटे आ गए हैं मीन्स मुसीबतें आ गई हैं. तो अब क्या होगा, मैं जब वो कांटों के ऊपर से चलूँगा तो आबले फट जाएंगे, मेरा ट्रीटमेंट हो जाएगा और उन आबलों को पानी मिल जाएगा. वाह देखो, लुक एट द डेप्थ. उन आबलों को, उन थॉर्न्स को पानी मिल जाएगा, नरिशमेंट मिल जाएगी मेरे छालों से. लुक एट द वे, द डेप्थ इन विच दिस इमोशन हैज़ कम आउट फ्रॉम दिस कपलेट. एंड ये हमारे को बताते थे कि घबराना नहीं है आपने, आपको मुसीबतों से घबराना नहीं है, बिकॉज दे विल कम ऑन योर वे. यू हैव टू कीप मूविंग, because when only you are moving will you get chale, and when only you keep moving there will be a solution to those chale and somebody will benefit from them. Family pictures again from them. Madan Saab hain, Khanna Saab ki family hai, Nayyar Saab, Mrs. Nayyar, again we lost, she's not there. Dr. Srivastav's family, Basin Saab aaye hue hain, Basin Saab's family, Dr. Agarwal, Geeta ji and Johar ji ki family kuch hogi, because Johar ji just got a stentings done and I think he was not able to make it, but we have a message. Dr. Bajaj, Dwivedi auntie and Bhatia Saab's family, Dr. Arun Agarwal, who were ex-dean at MAMC, just pictures to revive. Dr. Anubhav, Dr. Lata Seni, who was the next head after my mother at MAMC, very good friend, both of them. इनकी दो सहेलियाँ ही थी, लता सैनी और मिसेस द्विवेदी. पीसी जैन साहब हैं पिक्चर में नीचे, एंड अगेन फैमिली ऑफ मिसेस कपूर, भाई साहब, भाभी जी, हिमिंदर एंड देयर फैमिली, देर ऑल हियर. पंडोत्रा साहब, वेरी वेरी close friend from Himachal Cultural Association. We lost him again few years back. Bhai Sahib is here from Canada, my mama's son, Jaidev. You come specially from Canada for this function. Thank you, deeply appreciate. बहुत प्यार था आपसे. You were the only one representing the family as being the only mama for my mom's only brother. A small message, only a part of it I will play from Geeta ji.
This is in homage to a wonderful person, Dr. J.L. Gupta. Life was exceedingly kind to us. To be associated with Dr. J.L. Gupta ji, we always refer to him as Dr. G. A shining incomparable personality whose facets one brighter than the other. Innovation and excellent work. He had a new building to the department amalgamated with the old one when the ever expanding OPDs and some dental and prosthetic departments could function with ease. He was a hard taskmaster who drove all with him to higher performances. He would use the ward toilets to keep the cleanliness standard up. The wards in his department, although superintendent of the hospital, would work like a private hospital. No shoes would go into the ward. His post-operative nurses and doctors were so agile and alert. To facilitate the skin grafts and the hundreds of Diwali burn victims, the rooms would be stashed with rows and swaths of bandages. Inside of the emergency OT of Safdarjung Hospital, he could see the light reflected from his bedroom at his residence in Kidwai Nagar across the ring road. And he would inquire to the nature of the problem when that light switched on. His brilliance was unparalleled and performance excelled every possible arena. The operation theatres were air-conditioned by the indebted patronage and the ordinary patient benefited. Work was worship for him. Anybody who ran into a medical crisis in his home state of Himachal, his family, associates, colleagues would be helped to ultimate detail. His house was ever open, a guest house for the relatives and patients from outside Delhi. A devoted family man, his brothers, sisters, and their relatives, the list is so enormous and endless. We once wrote a letter to Dr. J.L. Gupta, Delhi, after they shifted from Kidwai Nagar. It got to him. Today, I feel if I wrote a letter to Dr. J.L. Gupta, a surgeon outstanding and a superlative humanitarian, it would get to him, wherever he is in this galaxy of stars.
So that's our family picture. Just quickly concluding, I would like to say this to everybody and convey that parents need a lot of looking after and care. And Kalpana and we looked after together our senior citizens. But I would be failing in my duty if I don't mention her sister Jyoti, who not only was there at every time when I was to go out for a meeting, Jyoti ji would come in to accompany Kalpana to manage both parents and now single parent. And if both of us had to go, she would again come and look after. Jyoti ji, I have no words to thank the enormous way in which you have supported and looked after my parents. This is the latest picture that we have, 13th January, where we were able to celebrate Lodi together. And as I said, cardiac events are sudden. He was quite okay till the 22nd, when I called my brother and some other friends when I found that he was a little bit not that good. This is the picture from the last Lodi. That's our family picture, which we would like to forever keep in our hearts. And this is the picture from yesterday when we concluded the ceremonies of Kriya and Rasam Pagdi at our home, when a lot of family members were there. And here I would like to recite a couplet from him again, which used to say, एक हंगामे पे मौकूफ है घर की रौनक, एक हंगामे पे मौकूफ है घर की रौनक, नुए गम ही सही नगमे शादी न सही. He used to say this so often, again reciting कि घर में मिलना जुलना चला रहना चाहिए, बेशक गम का ही मौका क्यों ना हो, शादी ना हो, शादी में तो लोग मिलते ही हैं, गम में भी सब मिलते हैं एक दूसरे को। आइडिया वॉज दैट हम सबको, अब हम अकेले अकेले रहने शुरू हो गए हैं, लोगों से मिलना कम हो गया है। मुझे अपना चाइल्डहुड याद है जब हम इकट्ठे होते थे, एक ही घर में नीचे लगा के गद्दे लगा के सो जाते थे, और अब हमारे घर बड़े हो गए हैं, कमरे खाली हो गए हैं, अजीब सी दुनिया है, तेज़ तराक सी ज़िंदगी में जी रहे हैं, कहाँ जा रहे हैं, क्या छोड़ के आ रहे हैं, किसी का अंदाज़ा नहीं है, किस चीज़ के पीछे भाग रहे हैं इसका अंदाज़ा नहीं है। जब हमें अपना फ्यूचर ही बहुत लंबा पता नहीं लग रहा है तो हम किस चीज़ के पीछे भाग रहे हैं। आई थिंक अ लॉट ऑफ इट हैज़ टू बी has to be thought over, and I would like to just end with one of the favorite months which my father used to love and recite.
ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। गरे 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 पगरे गरे जरा सरे ग पगरे सदा पदा पगरे ग परे रे सदा सरे रे सरे ग पदा दा दा ता सदा दा रे सदा दा सदा पदा ग परे ग सरे दा सरे रे रे रे। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
On behalf of the family, I would like to profoundly thank all of you, our family members, our friends, our well-wishers for coming here today, for joining us in your prayer meetings, for keeping us in your prayers, and for receiving the blessings from the soul of this noble man, and from gaining some bit which may be relevant to your lives, some little bit to take back from this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pavnendra Lal, for creating and presenting such a wonderful homage for your father. I'm very sure that your father will always be very proud of you. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone for your gracious presence today, for offering Pushpanjali to Dr. J.L. Gupta, for hearing the story. And we like to share with you that on the ground floor, the lunch is ready. तो आप सबसे अनुरोध है कि भोजन की व्यवस्था है, भोजन करके ही जाइएगा. परिवार के सदस्य आपको नीचे ही मिल जाएंगे और भोजन के उपरांत जाने से पहले आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि प्रसाद भी ज़रूर कलेक्ट कीजिएगा. तो एक बार फिर से आज के इस मेमोरियल और सेलिब्रेशन कार्यक्रम में आने के लिए आप सभी का बहुत बहुत आभार. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
इसको बंद कर दो, इसका यहाँ से बंद कर दो, शट बंद कर दो, चलने इसको भी चलते रहने दो, जब निकल जाएंगे. अच्छा, आप ये बाहर से रख देना बस, ठीक है ना? आपने जी मेरा इसी में और कुछ नहीं है सामान. इसका निकाल दिया. ये किसका है? ये भी